became a member of Moms Demand Action when I became a survivor of gun violence, but my story is different than most stories you'll read in the newspaper. My son Tom was 18, a senior at Tates Creek High School. He had been in treatment for depression and other mental health conditions and had been hospitalized briefly for suicidal intentions. And yet he was able to walk into 2 gun shops in Lexington, Kentucky and buy a gun and buy ammunition that he used to end his life shortly after purchasing them. This despite his history of mental illness, this despite the fact he could not legally purchase alcohol, that he needed a license to drive a car, and that the medications he took to help his health condition were highly regulated. The guns that he used to end his life were not. When he became a suicide, he became one of nearly 58 people every day who ended their lives using a gun. That's about 21,000 people who die in the United States every year by this method. So my question is, what could we do locally to help this situation, which is not unique to me and my family? That happens to other families in Lexington and surrounding counties every week.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I too am the mother of a victim of suicide. It's when a parent loses a child, it's the worst thing that can ever happen. But suicide actually adds another dimension to it because you don't know the reasons. My son had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and we were just learning about that when he died. He had just been diagnosed with it, didn't like taking the Ritalin, which made him hyperactive. And it was one of those things where we were totally shocked, as I'm sure you were. And I'd love to sit down and talk to you more about this. My son did all the right things. We thought everything was fine. When he took his brothers to school, he made them buckle up. Didn't drive too fast, no drugs, no alcohol. Went on church mission trips, did all the church activities, participated in Boy Scouts, swim team. We never, ever saw it coming. I bleed for you, and I'm so sorry. And I'm happy to work with you and talk with you as a mother to a mother.
May I make a quick comment? Okay, I know this is local and I'm running for the Congress. I think what this is just like with the things going on with the teachers in Frankfurt, this is where national, state, and local situations intersect. So my idea is we've got to hit it on all 3 fronts as we can. Obviously, you know that in the national legislature, the Congress, there's been, I don't know if you call it no, little, criminal inaction, or what you want to call it, but nothing's happening. I myself would like to see a 10-day waiting period. You were talking about a 3-day waiting period. The bottom line is it's all waiting periods. When I propose this to some of my more conservative friends, but what about the woman who needs the protection tonight? And I understand that. My answer to that is we have a waiting period. We make sure that people who are in domestic abuse situations that are under orders can't have guns. That people who have been negligent, like I was talking about a minute ago, can't have guns anymore. So it needs to be hit locally, as you said. It needs to be, and that therefore you need to have the home rule option, which has to be passed in order for it to work. You have to have the state option, we have to go after it nationally. The only thing that's going to happen is people like you and me continually hammer this situation and don't back away from it. That's why what the student activists are doing is so bloody important. I said that and certainly said the word with D, okay? Thank you.
I want to add as well, it matters profoundly to look at suicide as a place where we can find common ground right away. Because we have seen in countries that took access to anything. For example, scholars have found that suicide barriers on bridges really reduce the number of people who jump from bridges. Or in Britain, when they switched to less lethal oven gas, then the suicides by oven plummeted. when they did things to thwart common ways people were killing themselves, suicides went down. And the other side of it is people were getting help too. So looking at access to guns to reduce suicide, and especially in a state where we have so many men and women coming back with wounds of war, who are dealing with profound depressions, that are taking their whole families with them, we have to recognize how fearful those families are for those children's lives, that they're still trying to keep those kids alive who've come back so wounded. So that's a place where we can find common ground and ought to do that together.
Ms. Shea, first let me say that I'm pained to hear about the loss of your child from suicide. I know about Ruth Ann's situation. I'm a parent of 3, and I just can't imagine what it's like to go through with that. I'm going to say this to you, Ms. Shea, and to all others for Moms Demand Action. This is a tough fight. This is a tough fight. But I think that the teachers this session gave us the perfect model for democracy. And if you want to make a real difference in this state, this nation, it's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of persistent work, a lot of determined work. But we saw the results what the teachers did this year by being in the session, every day, being loud every day, being visible every day, and really working to save public education in the short term. Because as we have seen already, this government is committed to try to bury public education. And so that fight will still continue. But I will tell you, Ms. Shea, and others with Moms Demand Action, which is an organization I've been very supportive of from the very beginning. You've been in my center office. This is a long, hard battle. And you've got to follow that model that those teachers put forward. Because right now, as I've already indicated to everyone in this audience, there is no local control that you can pursue for communities like Lexington to deal with this issue of guns. And to get that, you've got to really put a lot of hard work. That's the only way you're going to be able to make change.